Yeah, so we don't have. All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Tiffany, please take the roll. Council, will you please turn your mics on?
Councilman Harjo.
Present.
Councilwoman Workla.
Present.
Councilman McCarthy.
Present.
Councilman Sanders.
Present.
Mayor Sykes.
Present. Let the record reflect that we do have a quorum for Tuesday, May 12th, 2026. Council, before we get down to recognizing the person in the audience, I'd like to amend the agenda and add executive session 74206B, if possible. Is that something you guys will let me add?
Mayor.
Councilwoman Workla?
Yes, absolutely. And I also want to amend the agenda. This will be a motion. I move to amend the agenda, create an action item under new business to appoint 2 appointees to P&Z as what was voted on and passed at the prior council meeting due to the reason being, due to number 12 being on the consent agenda and to be voted on tonight. What consent agenda?
So add 2 appointees. Yeah, I sent that to Waller. So, okay, so there's a motion. Is that your motion? Okay, there's a motion to add. Say that again, please.
So I move to amend the agenda to create an action item under new business to appoint 2 appointees to P&Z as what was voted on and passed at the prior council meeting. Reason being due to number 12 on the consent agenda as an item to be voted on tonight.
Can we do that, Paul?
Amend the agenda to include an action item.
Yeah.
The only thing that stands in its way, but I'm not going to have a heartache about it, is to why it wasn't amended to 48 hours out, to the extent that it would be quote unquote an emergency and all that. But if this was something that was substantive in nature, I would probably shut it down. But if it's just to appoint to P&Z, I'm not going to have a heartache about it. But technically, that's the impediment.
Mayor?
So, Councilman, I think we have the 2 that we voted on last time, right? Like we voted to add 2, right?
So, Mayor, they needed to be appointed, and then we vote on them, so they were never put on tonight's agenda for us to vote.
Because I didn't have 2 to bring forward.
You had 5.
Right, I had 5.
So 2 of the 5 you were going to pick, and you were going to put them on the agenda for us to vote on who to appoint.
Correct.
They didn't make it.
Because I haven't picked the 2.
So I'm asking you to pick the 2 tonight. You have plenty of time.
Okay. That's a new one. I've never had that
So,
before.
Paul?
She wants me to pick 2 people from the 5. You know what I mean? Of the.
That's within your purview as the executive, if you want to do that.
So I sent it to the P&Z commission to pick. Like, give me your recommendation to get a better understanding who they feel that would be best suited for the commission as well.
So to my understanding, Paul, he appoints, we discuss as a council, and then we vote on.
Affirm.
Yes, affirm that. Correct.
Okay, so we've had 2 weeks to do that. We've had 2 weeks because the motion was made by Councilman Harjo, I seconded it, and it passed by the mayor, tiebreaker vote, to appoint 2 people that applied of the 5 for the impact fee committee. Well, the impact fee committee and the P&Z is now rejoined together.
Right.
So the motion was to put them together, and then 2 of the 5 that applied would be appointed. So now I'm asking for tonight, because they've been in the air for 2 weeks, to appoint 2 people that applied for the 5.
Right. And I hope the logic doesn't escape that what in essence you're doing is if he refuses to do it, you're basically like saying that if you want a motion of the council to compel him to do it, which is an ultra vires act.
We
Can't do.
understand, then I will refuse to vote on number 12, which he's asking to approve the consulting agreement with Tish, Galena Incorporated regarding City of Mountain Home impact fees and authorize the mayor to sign because we have not established our committee as what was voted on, motion and voted on.
And that's certainly within your prerogatives to not vote on.
So if he doesn't want me to vote against this request that's on the consent agenda, I'm asking the mayor for you to please add my motion to the agenda.
These are not legal issues. This is you guys playing nice, and so I'll leave you to it. But yeah, you're welcome to amend the agenda, and no one can force you to make a decision.
Well,
And nobody can force her to vote on
I
12.
haven't had the opportunity to ask them if they're willing to sit on a P&Z either. So let's just do the name hat thing. We'll just throw them in the name of the hat, and we'll just pick two.
That's preferred.
Instead
I don't
of
have
asking
hats.
somebody if they want to sit on it. So, I don't know.
Mayor,
Councilman.
they've had 2 weeks to know that the committees have been combined back together. So they know that's part of the stipulation, right? I've talked to one of them today who said that they never heard anything from the city. That individual talked to another one that applied and said they haven't heard anything from the city. So they were waiting for the city to reach out to them for that request or for that invite. Do you want to serve? And that hasn't been asked.
Right.
So do you want me to wait 2 more weeks and now we're a month out from establishing the motion that was made and seconded and that you were the tiebreaker vote? Do you want to wait a month out? We need to get on this impact fee / P&Z committee to figure out where we are at with our growth, our proper growth.
Okay, let's just stick them in a hat. We'll make it easy for you. You got a name, we'll put them on a piece of paper, we'll throw them in a hat. If you're going to force me to do something without talking to somebody, I thought, so in my defense, or in not my defense, I asked, I sent it to Mr. Waller, and maybe I was assuming, I didn't get a response from him, that maybe he was doing it, but that's my assumption.
Will Mr. Willett respond?
That's what I'm saying, no, he did respond. So that's what I'm saying, it's like, fine. To move this along, if that's your motion,
Yeah, I'm just waiting for a second. Maybe
Okay.
council doesn't want to do it.
there you go. Been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Councilman,
Clarification for the executive session, we have after.
oh, after, sorry.
Okay, perfect.
Yep, no, you're good.
Thank you.
Yep. Any further discussion? Sorry. Councilman Sanders.
Is there a second to the executive session?
Yes.
You're both of them?
Yep.
I just want sure.
Councilman Sanders.
Ready to go. You're calling for the vote?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. Aye.
Councilman McCarthy. Aye. Councilwoman Orkla.
Aye.
Councilman Harjo.
Aye.
Okay. Number 3. No. New business number 6. Okay. Let's go down to recognize the person in the audience. Would somebody like to get up and speak for 3 minutes? What?
James Newton, Mayor Sykes, and council members. For those with city fiber, think back to life before you had it. For those without it, how many of you have struggled with unreliable internet, broken promises, and switching providers just to keep searching for something better? That frustration is everyday life with many residents here in town. A neighbor recently told me that he got satellite internet and said I should too. But that should not be the answer within the city limits. Satellite internet has an important purpose. It was designed for rural, remote, and hard-to-reach areas where wired infrastructure is not practical. It should not be a plan for neighborhoods inside a mountain home when the city already has a public fiber utility that can be expanded. I understand some people choose not to use the fiber for personal reasons, financial or other reasons, but that's their choice. But residents who do want reliable fiber service are willing to participate should be given a fair opportunity to connect. Using mountain homes posted fiber costs, if the estimated $3,500 installation cost is paid up front, residents would pay about $26 to $43 per month for the 1 gig service, depending on the plan that you choose. If the $3,500 installation cost is financed over 10 years, City Fiber comes out to about $55 to $72 per month before interest, then drops once the installation cost is paid off. By comparison, Zito Media advertises 1 gig service for $91 a month before taxes, plus price never drops, and fiber must be installed to your residence before you could use those folks. Now, if this council is not going to move the city fiber utility forward, then what is your alternative? What is your plan to fix the poor broadband availability in Mountain Home? What is your plan to bring real competition to neighborhoods still stuck with limited choices and unreliable speeds during peak hours? If this council chooses not to move this utility forward, then I respectfully ask you to amend Title 10, including Section 10-1-4, that says the city has no obligation to provide access to any provider or subscriber and reserve the right to limit and refuse access on sole discretion. If the city is going to reserve that level of control, then it has a responsibility to move it forward. But if not, residents should not be stuck with a city fiber utility that they cannot access and limiting private fiber providers who might be willing to build infrastructure if given a chance. Mountain Home needs better internet, either with fiber expansion or better fiber provider competition. Thank you.
Rachel Summers with Mountain Home Irrigation District. I'm the secretary of the organization. I was just I'm just here to invite you guys all to come visit our tunnels. We want to show you our irrigation system. Eric just wanted to do a tour with all you guys to answer any questions, show the improvements and the what needs to be done. He did try to get a hold of a couple of you and has had no luck. So I'm inviting you guys for a tour. Anyways, you can contact me via email or a phone call. Tiffany's got my information, so we can schedule up a date. So we would like to see you guys all there. So yeah, and bring a list of questions, please. So, all right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Derek Orvis. I'm here on a couple of matters. One you might be familiar with, the perfect storm that is a drought, higher cost fertilizer, and diesel for our local farm area. So I'm curious and a little concerned about the involvement of Mountain Home and what we're going to be doing to look out for our farmers and our communities and kind of leave a little bit of that pressure regarding the possibility of food instability based off of increased costs. I know you might not be able to do a lot, but I do know that the city council and the mayor both have quite a bit of power to get some stuff done. So that was my concerns, is how can we move forward with that? I've been brainstorming it myself, and I will send out an email with my ideas, so you guys don't have to take a long list. But I am here on behalf of a couple other people who had some observations in town. Ever since town has been increasing, there's been more traffic, there's been more people, and I would like to see sidewalks and ADA sidewalks updated to ADA. My friend said that she was walking up 18th, and 18th has no sidewalk, and she sees that there's wheelchair wheels, stroller wheels, kids' feet, stomping around in there. So we have, a pretty major road that doesn't have a sidewalk. And that's not counting the roads that don't have the access portion. I can't tell you how many, scoots, I don't know what you would call them, but, a lot of them, some of them are veterans, seniors, disabled, they're on the road going to, on Airbase, going up 18th, down, and, we have the mailboxes on the sidewalks, people in bicycles. We're at that point where people are limiting how they drive, because gas prices have essentially, that their budget has been doubled for gas. So I have more friends walking, not only with the heat, there's not very many places to sit, rest, get some shade. It would be nice to see more drinking fountains around, public drinking fountains. And and having like a traffic safety advisory board, especially with the growth of Mountain Home. I know you can't lower the speed limit through downtown by Railroad Park, but since that is going to be kind of a busing area, I might as well look into possibly having more signage, safer streets to walk down on, to cross the street, more visibility, and we have new people coming to town. We have people walking down the underpass that connects Airbase to. It would be great to have some signs saying that there's a tunnel right here. Maybe do, I don't know how you guys would figure that out, but signs would be the easiest method. So yeah, that's all. I appreciate you guys' time.
Anybody else?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. As I sent to all of you, including Tiffany, an email this afternoon regarding the LED sign in Railroad Park. And I'm going to read it to be read on record so that the public can hear it as well. I'm writing to ask why Bridging the Gap Suicide Bullying, a nonprofit, was denied to use the Railroad Park display LED sign. It was requested on Tuesday, May 5th, 26, to place a notice on the board that the Elmore County Health Coalition would be the guest speakers on May 9th. Tiffany responded on May 6th, 2026, by email stating it would be posted that day. The next email from Tiffany: Mayor, you denied the request without providing any reason, nor did you offer a response to my request. Tiffany, I'm sorry you were put in the middle of us. I've attached 3 different notifications from City Hall encouraging citizens to utilize the sign for nonprofit community events that are open and free to the public. Bridging the Gap has been allowed access several times in the past. I would like to know what has changed. Council, I ask that ordinances be written in detail on what is and isn't accepted as nonprofit community event, and who can use a publicly owned sign. You are More and Mountain Home City Youth Council are both nonprofit with similar missions. Please explain to me what the difference is. I will bring a copy of this email to the meeting tonight. A couple of the Facebook posts and a letter out of the city's policy, I believe. The first Facebook page is, did you know the city has a digital message board for community announcements? Here's what you need to know about posting. Official city, council hall, public emergency messages, events and activity within Mountain Home city limits, Chamber of Commerce, Mountain Home Arts Council announcements. Requirements: must appeal to wide audience, event must be open to public, no commercial or personal gain, no personal messages accepted, messages posted come first served with priority levels. And there's 2 more that you have in your packet, so please review them so that we can move forward with a purpose. Thank you. Oh, and just a quick reminder, I didn't bring any lemon cake.
Lemon cake?
Yeah, you'd requested it, or made mention of it.
All right, anybody else? All right, we'll run down to Intif. Try to see if anything gets pulled on here. If they pull something from their consent agenda.
They haven't yet.
Okay, we're going to go down to conflict of interest. Has any council member received information pertaining to otherwise any contact with any person regarding any items on the city council agenda? If so, please set forth the nature of contact.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
I have had contacts with Terry Manduca, an email from Nicholas Gapian. I've had conversations with John Christopher and Paris Dickerson, and an associated number of city staff, they want their names off the site. None of them represent a conflict of interest.
Perfect.
Mayor,
Councilman Harjo.
I received an email from Nicholas Gage.
Councilman McCarthy.
I received an email from Nicholas Gage.
Yeah.
Councilman Workla.
Received a phone call from Becky Garvey regarding the golf course under new business number 1 and 2. The conflict of interest. Nicholas Gage regarding number 12 on consent agenda and number 2 under new business. No conflict. And then John Criswell regarding number 11 on consent agenda and a newly added item on the agenda regarding the appointment of P&Z. In addition, I did talk to Paris Dickerson from Idaho Power as well for clarification on something on the bill run.
Look at that. Okay, let's run down the consent agenda. Council, is there anything on the consent agenda that you would like pulled?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Sanders.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to pull items 2, 5, 11, and 16.
Mayor,
Hang on a second. 16. Councilman, let me make sure that they're at 16, 11, 5, and 2.
Correct.
Okay, Councilwoman Workla.
in addition to those, I have those starters all the time. I want to pull 6 in addition. Was 12 mentioned yet? No. And 12.
Okay. Okay. Councilman McCarthy.
I'd like to pull number 7, please.
All right, Council. Councilman Harjo.
I'll make a motion to pass the consent agenda as printed, pulling items 2, 5, 6, 7, 11, 12, and 16.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Harjo.
Aye.
Councilman Workla.
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy.
Aye.
Councilman Sanders.
Aye.
All right. Run down to old business action item deliberation decision regarding the letter of engagement with certain CPAs for FY26 audit services and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign the required documents. Council. All right. Councilman McCarthy.
I asked for this last time for clarification on that, and Paula, you were able to get us that email, so thank you for that. With that being said, if there's no discussion, I will make the motion to approve the letter of engagement with Source and CPAs for FY26 audit service, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign the required documents.
Second. It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman McCarthy.
Aye.
Councilman Workla.
Aye.
Councilman Harjo. Aye. Councilman Sanders.
Aye.
Gonna run down to old business number 2, action item number 2, deliberation decision regarding task order attachment with Keller Associates, Inc., and authorize mayor to sign. I don't remember which one that one was again, so, Council, what do you want to do?
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo.
I think this one got tabled until our public works director and engineers could questions. I would recall this one getting tabled.
Councilman McCarthy.
So I had some questions on this for last, and yes, thanks for Councilman Harjo for laying in that we were waiting for some clarification from Public Works Director on that. So I guess I kind of want to start off with the task order. It looks like we are doing for general water, wastewater, and development service with an increase of $150,000. Quite a bit of money. I guess I'm kind of curious to see if we can get some more information of these consultant services, what these we see all the time on bill runs every month, and what we're essentially paying for on this service and that. I have some other questions on that, but I guess I'll just start with that.
There.
Keller did join us
Oh,
to
cool.
help answer these
Okay.
questions if we want to bring them up. But I will start by saying that the general task order, Keller Associates has been engaged with the city for years. The reason we do these task orders is growth. The reason we do these task orders is primarily based on growth and projects that are ongoing throughout the city. You guys are here,
Yeah, I could add to that. I mean, really, this is an on-call, so whatever you need, we're here for you. So it's not. So there's some things that happen like regularly, like every year you have an annual land application permit, and that's a certain amount of effort. Most of the other things are just as they come up, and so there's a new development that comes in, and hopefully you can recoup some of these costs with your fees and some of those things. But the idea is just to have something in place that, hey, when you have something you want us to do, we're here for you. And so typically, historically, it's been kind of in that $2,000 to $3,000 a month on average, just based on just how on-call services. Sometimes there might be almost nothing or none at all. Other times, typically January, February is usually bigger because we're doing the land application permits and annual reports that are being done. But it's just really, it's an on-call, for whatever things you might have a need for. Hopefully, we're the idea behind these is we're protecting the city's interests. The first time you have, for example, the wrong pipe size is put in on a project, and you have to worry about digging a road up because it's too small. You pay for years worth of engineering services. So this is really to protect the city's interest, answer whatever questions you have, help in whatever way we can.
And I will add to that. I know that previously you requested some of the Keller invoices. If you go through those invoices, they break down what they do on every project. So, like I said, we're seeing a lot of these new subdivisions come along with different developers. When they do those reviews, they break them down by subdivision, and then those costs we can and do recoup in the reviews that are published through the building files. So we do recoup some of that cost. We unfortunately don't recoup it all. I am, however, working with Keller. They've been assisting me, and the reason that we have broken those down now is so that we can track better what expenses we do have, and we can go back to this body and request increases in the amount of development fee reviews that we're charging for these developers, because we want to make sure we're doing the right things, and the citizens should be paying for it. But those are the things that Keller helps us do that really the city can't move forward without.
Might just also add that it's been about 2 years since the last time we augmented this budget, and I think the city staff might take some of these responsibilities in, like the annual report may be done in-house now, so we kind of see this as it's probably going to last another 2 years, if not maybe a little bit longer. Yeah.
At some point, you may look at getting your own in-house engineer, and this budget will trim down a lot when that happens, because there's still a lot of things that are, no engineer can do everything. We have teams of people, but as you get bigger, that will be something you'll look at, maybe having your own in-house staff, and they will take on more and more of those duties that you currently outsource.
Councilman Crosby?
I appreciate that, James and
Yeah.
Chris. I guess that's kind of my question on that, because last city council meeting, we had the pleasure of Idaho Power coming to us and presenting on that, and they pointed out something that I think that has been sticking in my mind about our growth rate. And they talked about the average that they're going through, and I believe it was 1.23. So I understand that we need experts in the field of that. I guess I'm just kind of questioning on what these kind of conversations and these projects are when we're not seeing what the growth that we were anticipating all these years based on data and everything that's coming in. So I think this is over kind of an arching thing for me as well with other tasks. But Chris, I guess I want to put you on the spot when we're talking about developments and that. It seems every month we have some charge for development reviews. But when I'm kind of looking at developments, I'm not seeing too many, coming on with planning and zoning and that these last couple months. So is this something that's behind the scene? Can you expand a little bit more?
So The reviews that are taking place are, a lot of them, approved developments. So Blue Yonder is the perfect example. It's the biggest one you're going to see, all the Corey Barton projects. As we go through the stages of those, every stage of that has to have a development plan that's submitted and approved. We've done Blue Yonder 1, Blue Yonder 2, we're on Blue Yonder West now. So those are already approved projects that are here, but they continue to grow. Thunderbolt Landing is another one, Fall Creek is another one. Those are all phased projects. And as we go through the phases of development, we have to review every phase. And so that's what a lot of the charges that we do see are. We're working on some other things with Keller that are not development specifically based. We have a landfill we're still trying to close. Keller is the engineer that we use for that general task force as well. So there's a lot more than just the brand new shiny penny developments coming in. There's always something to be done until these projects are completed. Blue Yonder's got a long way to go. Fall Creek's got a long way to go. Silverstone North, they're finally getting to where that one you'll start to see drop off. But we have other ones that are coming on, like Axtell Subdivision. There's always another one in the pipeline. Does that help? Is that okay?
Mayor. Councilman Harjo?
James Jordan, thank you guys for coming out here. Yeah, just to reiterate what Chris has mentioned, Blue Yonder, I pull up the findings of fact from that, and the development assessments of what infrastructure needs to happen in accordance with each phase of these new growth subdivisions. For instance, here, Blue Yonder number 4 does not proceed with construction. Hazelin Ranch will be required to install the 16-inch water main along the frontage per the water master plan. There's a lot of detail to be found in the findings of fact in these preliminary and final plats. That data is there because of Keller Associates looking out for the entire system, the best interest of what the city's infrastructure looks like both now and into the future, giving those real world outlooks on if this then that, if not this then you have this choice. Those don't just show up. They take engineering professionals to get done. I appreciate you guys doing that. Yeah, I'll leave it there.
All right, Council. What do you want to do?
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo.
Make a motion to approve a task order amendment with Keller Associates and authorize the mayor to sign.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing now, I'll call for the question. Councilwoman Workla.
Nay.
Councilman Sanders.
Nay.
Councilman Harjo.
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy.
Okay.
Okay. All right, run down to new business. I just pulled. Is that what I'm putting it to?
Sorry, yeah, I caught up finally, thanks to Councilwoman Orgala.
Yeah, good. So we're running down to new business, and we're gonna go down to items pulled. I know it's not a number, but we'll go to number 2. So Councilman Sanders.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members of the council, I want to draw your attention to line 014159615. And the material that's been purchased under that line is all golf merchandise. To my knowledge, there is not an expenditure line created in the current budget for this expenditure. There is not a funding stream that was dedicated for this to go against. The funding stream indicated came onto the budget in the past year, showing there was anticipation of receiving those funds. Yet those funds were not dedicated by the council to go toward any expenditures. As a result, I would like to see this amount, the $4,900.06, be split into existing lines. In particular, I would like to see the 0141561-10, the golf discretionary rounds, and the $502.50 that are there, zero that out to go toward this total payment. Line 0141585-00, the miscellaneous expenditure line, in the amount of $1,394.39, the remaining balance zeroed out to go toward that cost. And then to make up the $3,003.17 difference, the 014155610, the educational incentive program, which currently has no expenditures against it, and with us being over halfway through the fiscal year, $6,000 balance there be remaining. My recommendation is that this bill be paid out of each of those three lines. And then to avoid any further misunderstandings about how that fund should be appropriated, I am recommending that the revenue line 0141596-15, the ID-co-op, be transferred to 014158200, contingency.
Councilman Hardy.
Councilman Sanders, I hate to ask because I know this is big. A few of those budget lines can I get again, just to make sure?
Of course.
I apologize.
Starting with 014156110. That is the golf ground donations. The 014158500 is listed as miscellaneous. And then the 014155610 is the employee education incentive program.
Mayor,
Councilman Workla.
you have a comment.
I'm glad to what?
So, Councilman Sanders, no, there's no way I'm gonna have the taxpayer pay for any of that $4,906. There's a backstory on it. And I believe you found out the same way because the person that you disclosed, I disclosed too. All right, so here's the backstory. At our last budget session, we received this paper. It says grants for 2025-26. On there, it says administration, Idaho Power Co-op in the amount of $1.2 million. It's that line item that you just disclosed, the 01-415-96-15. So again, what we've all learned is that why our budget looks so high every year is because we have to disclose grants even if we don't get them, right? We have to disclose grants, we have to disclose co-ops, URA amounts, whatever. We have to disclose that even if we do not get it. The problem with that is current council, to my knowledge, was unaware of the $1.2 million being awarded. I don't even say awarded. So when I spoke to Paris as well at Idaho Power, I said, what's the backstory here? She said that when she came to us about a year ago, Bennett Mountain plant was subject to be built. Idaho Power said that they will give the city of Mountain Home, per their allowance, a tax break on property taxes for a certain percentage amount. After they came and said that on record, legislation changed and said that Idaho Power did not have that authority anymore. So kudos to Idaho Power for actually doing the math, doing the numbers, and figuring out that $1.2 million is what would pay back to the people of Mountain Home, the taxpayers of Mountain Home, through property tax relief. she said, I said, were you obligated to give that? She said, we weren't obligated to give any. I said, okay, what are the stipulations? No one just gives $1.2 million without strings attached. She said, we wanted to uphold to our word and follow through. So there was no strings attached per your email, Mayor, right? Because I asked you as well. And it was a check. It was a check that came in and it was deposited. And the mayor decided, without running it by council, which I guess could be his purview, I don't know, but decided to put it in the general admin budget, which is your budget that you have control of. Yes, there is a purchasing policy that says that you can only spend up to $5,000 without running it by council. Therefore, when you decided to supply the pro shop, while we're still determining which way we want to go with the golf course and the pro shop, you decided to spend $4,900.06 to supply and staff the pro shop full of clubs, gloves, balls, and displays. We, as council, did not know that until we got our packet on Friday night and it's on the bill run. Okay? I went to our treasurer. She said, and asked the question about this. She says, run that by the mayor. The mayor gave me his reasoning. I still wasn't happy with that, so I found out by having to call Idaho Power how that was done. There's no way the city of Mountain Home, the taxpayers of Mountain Home, will pay a penny of that. I will not reallocate any of that. Now, the second part of your request was to put that $1.2 million into contingency, right? Not a bad idea, okay? Because we need Celton Sewer Lagoon badly, and that could help on that. So, in my point of view, Mayor, by you funding the pro shop, you have put your needs before the city of Mountain Home, before the people of Mountain Home. Meaning that we need our infrastructure fixed first for our sewer, our wastewater, and that money should not be going to something for what you deemed as your own personal agenda, since council has not decided on which direction we wanted to go yet, because that is later on in the agenda underneath new business. This is going to sound real, I'm going to get a lot of hate emails, but you will pay the $4,906. The taxpayer will not. Now, I don't know if the rest of the council will approve that, but that's where I stand.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Sanders.
Councilman Workla, thank you for that. I will offer a couple of alternatives. First of all, I do not subscribe to the notion that we have to disclose grants whether or not we receive them. Especially when Idaho Code in Chapter 50, Section 1003, allows the reopening of a budget for unanticipated revenues and specifically uses grants as an example of such. It is completely proper to have a budget written where you can have the notion of having grants come in, and then if you actually get them, reopen the budget in order to receive those revenues. That is allowed under the law. And as a result, it makes for a little tighter accounting so you don't have ghost numbers running through your budget system. But that being said, the bill's been paid. Question is now how we properly allocate it.
Mayor,
Councilman
the
Workla.
bill has not been paid because we pulled it off the consent agenda. It's not paid until we approve it. Do not have him put us in this corner. We don't have to accept any payment.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Sanders.
Since you seem to be the nexus for information on this issue, I will ask you point blank. How were these products procured?
They were procured, I'm going to assume by the, Chris got it for me, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And you authorized him to do that?
Yep.
Okay. Was that done on a city account?
I don't know. Do you have an account? Was that a city account?
Yes.
Yes.
Wilson's 40 goods. 3,800 of that was rental clubs.
Come down, Chris. Sorry.
Man. I just want to know, where's Jeff? Where's Jeff? Jake is the boss of Jeff. Jeff is the boss of Chris. Where's that chain?
Chain?
Mr.
Go ahead.
Councilman Workla. Not sure exactly which hole he would be on, but he plays in the Fat Belly Round Belly League, which is playing this evening. So he's probably on the course as we speak. Or just getting ready to, just getting underway.
They tee up at 4.
Yeah. So,
Mr. Go ahead.
it is my opinion, and I'm of the opinion this purchase was inappropriate, that the purchase was without authority, does not fall within the policies of the council, and those policies are referenced and interlaced with the budgets to support those policies, even though the budget was passed by the prior council. The council passed those budgets based on the policies they had given you over the course of the year, whether that's in written form or whether it was through a series of decisions that came as the regular course of business, in which oftentimes monies would transfer between lines. In that regard, I see this purchase as being outside those guidelines, and hence outside the purchasing policy of the council. And to the extent we may not be able to return those materials, can we?
Full call.
If they can be returned, I would prefer they be returned immediately and this be taken off of our books until the proper course of actions be taken.
Hold that thought.
It's actually 2829 in rental clubs, gloves 978, golf balls 1050. Just doing what I was told to do.
All right. Okay. Councilman McCarthy.
I'll jump into this deep water, I'd say. 100% agree. I think this is an appropriate purchase, especially when we haven't, as body council, decided which way we are going with the golf course. I guess it starts making you kind of question a little bit more of, this came from the 01-14-96-15 Idaho Co-op budget line. Well, if we can purchase sporting goods out of that, and it doesn't violate, the $5,000 purchasing, what's to say that it can't be done with other budget lines? So I feel that this is kind of starting to set a precedent that if we allow this tonight, that what's stopping it from having another $5,000 next city council meeting? And I 100% agree with Councilwoman Workala that I do not agree that $1 of tax money or money should be spent on materials for the pro shop. We are not in the business to be competing against private industry. If it is something that is so much needed, then I don't understand why we're not talking about contracting out the golf pro shop. So I don't see this as an appropriate expenditure, and flat out it needs to be corrected. So,
okay.
Mr. Mayor,
go ahead.
I'm getting messages from Cyber World asking if you guys speak into the speaker. I can't be heard. That's fine.
Okay. One, I checked with legal, made sure it was something I could do before I ever do anything. First and foremost, Chris has, I think, some kids things coming up for the kids at Parks and Rec.
Yep, I met with them today, getting the program for June and July. 6-week program, $60 student.
So this is a golf course, and I guess for me, it's hard because we have, how many people we've turned away in the pro shop for not having clubs for them to utilize, right?
Well, it's a great slow play.
Correct. before I do anything, I always ask legal. And he said, yep, purchasing policy. I guess my thing is at the end of the day, I do everything by the book. And if that's how you guys feel, that this is inappropriate to have the golf course utilize golf clubs, and that's another thing. I agree. I won't use taxpayer dollars. This was something that was donated to the city of Mountain Home. So I was thinking, okay, I'll just not use tax dollars and get this program for the kids and that kind of stuff set up. Easy peasy. While we're waiting for the decision of the council direction, right? So that was my thing. Go ahead, Chris.
You have a driving range and you don't have clubs for even people to use on the driving range. You know, they want to come out and hit balls and have no clubs to offer them. That's what rental clubs are for.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
when I was running my campaign, I at one time was accused of being a one-subject campaigner. Everybody was afraid I was going to do nothing but defend the golf course. I am a golfer. That golf course is one of my passions. I am absolutely torn between my passion for the game and my obligation as a city council. Because my obligation extends beyond the golf course. And the precedent that is trying to be established here, with all due respect to legal counsel, I disagree. It's almost like you've come to the council with your request for having it run by the city, like someone would come to a judge asking for a injunction. And then before the decision comes back from the judge, you've gone out and taken relief anyway. That is not the purchasing policy. If I don't protect the process for the proper use of these funds and the proper role of the council, then I do a disservice to every citizen that voted for me. And in that regard, no matter how well intended, if it wasn't done correctly, it's not right. And just because it's not illegal doesn't make it right. This purchase, in my opinion, falls outside of your scope of duties.
Okay. What do you want to do?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
I'm going to ask that you direct your golf staff to see if the items can be returned. And then provide that information to the council so we may address what appropriate action to take afterward.
Okay.
And I still would like, and as part of that motion, I still would like to continue with having the funding stream represented by the 451-5610 shifted to contingency.
Does that mean we have to budget to shift it, or can we just dump it all in there?
I would defer to Paul. I think we could just journal entry it. However, please don't forget the bill one hasn't been passed, so we can pull that one off and then pass the rest. And then you pay the rest.
Yep.
Councilman McCarthy.
I don't want to beat a dead horse on this. I think it's been said that, yeah. So I will make a motion to approve the bill runs from 4/29/2026 to 5/12/2026, pulling the sporting's good expenses. Oh, pulling the $4,906.
Councilman Warbler.
The maker of the motion amend his motion to, for clarification, that there is under 24-439-56-00 underneath meeting, schools, and dues for the golf course, there's dry flowable fungicide, which I called Jake and he admitted that that was a clerical error and that he reached out to our treasurer for clarification. But what we see here is what we're going to vote on. Has that been fixed? Okay.
All right, there's been a motion. Is there a second? Mayor. Councilman Harjo?
Councilwoman McCarthy, the stated amount that you mentioned was $4,906. It's $4,900.06. If you'd like to amend that.
Mayor,
Councilman McCarthy?
I'll amend my motion to the $4,900. The $4,906.06.
No, it's $4,900.06.
6 cents, excuse me. Yeah.
Sorry.
There's a motion, and is there a second? Pay the bills and take that out. Second. All right, it's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call for the question. Councilman Sanders?
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy? Aye. Councilman Workla?
Aye.
Councilman Harjo? Aye. Run down to item number 5. Councilman Sanders?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
I move this item, number 5, to approve and set a public hearing for June 9th, 2026 regarding miscellaneous golf fee be indefinitely tabled as it is not ripe for this committee's consideration.
Second. All right, it's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Harjo? Aye. Councilwoman Workla?
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy? Aye. Councilman Sanders?
Aye.
All right, run down to number 6, approved task order 3035, agreement for well 18th with Keller Associates. Councilwoman Workla?
So this is another task order for Keller that is asking to be approved. So I think it was like about a year ago. Can I have you?
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
So there's always our lagoon and our wastewater infrastructure needs to be addressed, and that we were okay with our water. We're sitting okay with our water about a year ago. Tell me if I'm speaking incorrectly here. So that wasn't really on my radar. But then we get this task order on our agenda here saying that the water system is about approximately 85% of its firm water supply capacity.
Yes, you might recall we did that declining balance update a couple months ago. That's where that came about. So regulatorily, you're not required to have another well until you reach your firm capacity. As a guideline, it's when you get to like that 85%, that's the time to start thinking about planning on the next step. And so that's what this is about. So you've got time before the well you need it, but it also takes, like you saw the last well, it takes a long time to get a well permitted, constructed, all the processes, all that stuff takes years. The last well took a few years. So this is the first step of that whole process, and that's getting the well hole, doing the test well, doing the production well, and getting going on that. So it's can you wait? Sure, you can wait, but this is a matter of just staying ahead of the curve. The lagoon still is an important component. I think when we talked about the wastewater, the lagoon was the biggest item. And when you look at the water system, the well is the biggest item. So those are the two priorities, and they're different buckets. You have to manage those separately.
Agreed.
So
when I pull up the task order, again, the fee is $137,000. So $137,885. So part of me feels like we should figure out before we go out for another task order to pay that for this assessment is to get on our wastewater and just close that up before we're purging out more money towards.
Yeah, you can certainly prioritize your dollars however you want.
Right.
I would say that there are different buckets that you can't mingle. You've got your water that's an enterprise fund and your wastewater that's an enterprise fund. So you can't take your extra cash in your water and put it on your sewer project. So, I mean, but yeah, you can certainly prioritize things however you want. I would say that this would be something we'd recommend you start. And again, it doesn't have to happen today, but I would certainly say within the next 6 months or a year, based on and that depends a little bit on how growth occurs. But if you look at the biggest risk for your city's water system, it's the unknowns with wells. Sometimes you have a well go out, or sometimes two wells go out, and it's just, or you drill a well and like, oh goodness, there's all kinds of problems. The water quality is not right, or something. Just so knowing what you have and getting a well that you can count on and rely on goes a long ways. Like you can always wait on the facility side. Like I'm going to wait and build, spend the I think last one was like 1.7 million to do the facilities and the generator and all that kind of stuff. So you need it, but having some certainty on the well hole gives you a lot of mitigates a lot of risk.
Yeah, thank you. And you're only doing what we ask, of course, because you found this with the declining balance. I understand. I just want to see what other council feels about this.
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo.
Again, thank you guys. It's a highlight that more than one thing can be true. Right? We have two independent buckets of funding that are strictly allocated within their statutory purpose. Both of these issues are afflicting this city at the same time. And we've paid for studies getting up to this point. The declining balance tool is one that we've been working on for over a year. The results of those reports independently are showing us that we have decisions to make in both of those fronts. The question that I have for you guys, James and Jordan, our portfolio of water rights currently, do we hold enough water right to accommodate well 18?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That being said, is there a time clock to put those water rights into use? In the sense that just leaning on the agricultural side where they have a shot clock on how frequently they need to put that into service. Are we beholden to any? No.
All right, Council.
Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy.
Chris, I know you answered this last time, but I just want to say our last well number 17 that came on last year. December it came on. And so I guess my question, please help with this, is when we had well 17 come online, how many EDUs did that give us for water?
1,000.
1,000. So I guess that's where my question is. And again, I've been trying to stress this so much of this is why it's so important to understand our true growth rate. If we had 1,000 EDUs come on in December, and yet we're getting a report, I think it was April that you had come and presented, and we're down to 43 EDUs for 85% capacity. I'm trying to figure out how we went from.
So, I mean, that's when you started that project. You might have been a little bit more behind the 8 ball, and when you finished it, you're in a much better spot. But still, there's still growth. There's still. I mean, you went from here to here, but you needed to be there already. So I mean, you weren't violating standards, but you kind of went like just got barely above the bar. So each step you're just getting a little bit. I mean, we would have liked to have gotten more capacity out of that well. I think that was our original hope, and that would have given you more time. But you got what you get out of a well hole. So that's that's part of the reason. Yeah.
And the estimated on, sorry, Mayor. The estimate, what was the estimated on well number 17 that it would freeze? Because I know in the slide you had presented, it came out to about 1,100 gallons.
1,100 is the capacity. So when we tested it, that's what we determined we could do. So we actually tested it at a higher rate, but it had issues with sand when you started to pump too high. So that's why its target's what it is. And that's part of why you do a test well and why you test things out, so that you don't go put a ginormous pump and then burn it out in the first 2 weeks.
So when we started wells number 17, when did the initial planning in that happen? Just for background information.
Probably 7 years ago.
7 years ago, we started a task order with Keller for.
Well, I don't know about.
Let's start with the water master plan.
So thinking a lot of water master plan.
Well, 17 was prior to 21.
Yeah, it was prior to
It was like at least in 20.
Sometimes it takes a while. So in that case, there were other factors. You were securing funding, for example, that was funded by the military grant. So sometimes there's pauses. Let's get the funding in order before you move forward. Sometimes there's typically the longest things are like water rights and in this case, the last case, there were some water quality issues that had to be addressed, which required additional testing to confirm that it was okay. And so all those things end up taking time. And that's part of why we're saying you just never know what you're going to get. It might go quickly, but it can take a while. So it's better to go sooner and then know what you have so that you have it in the bank when you need it.
And then in that time we had well 16 was updated, wasn't it, Chris? Or wasn't there a piece of, there was a well that we had that needed some.
15.
Sorry,
We
15.
did some major repairs on well 15 because we had a failure.
And that increased our capacity, or just?
No, it was already on. It was an already online well. We just had repairs. It didn't change capacity. We have another well that's out of service right now, and it doesn't change our capacity. We'll fix it.
Perfect. I just wanted to ask on that, just to make sure. I appreciate the info. I think it's one of those.
We just want you to make informed decisions.
And I appreciate that. And I think for me, it's one of those of, yes, it's always good to plan, but where are we at when it becomes to pre-planning, and we're just basically paying for task order after task order after task order, where it's just sitting on the shelf until hopefully the growth rate, or we get to where we actually need it. And so that's kind of my concern of, if we have another task order, where, I'm pretty sure, and I don't want to speak for this body, but I think the sewer is kind of one of those that we really want to solve and get done on, especially since I know with the task order with Keller, we had paid, I think it was about $380,000 to settle with number 10.
Yeah, a lot there. And there's other reasons for that too, right? You were trying to get grants, they had to be shovel ready, so you're trying to, sometimes there's motivations in why you do things in certain orders. And if it'd be helpful, we could provide Chris some growth scenarios, like what happens if you grow at 1% or 2% or this, and you can see how that trigger would occur. Like when would you hit the 85%? When would you hit 90% or 95 or 100? So happy to provide that to you, so you can make that informed decision, and based on that, you can decide when you want to pull that trigger.
Well, that's great to know. Sorry, Mayor. It's great. Appreciate that. I think you had a Keller report back in 2015 that I'm very interested in, because it follows pretty closely that growth rate that we're following. And so that's, again, when I'm coming back to all this information, it seems again, do we have too many irons in the fire where, is this truly needed right now, or can we wait for next budget or next year and move forward depending on growth? So, but I do appreciate you all coming and answering these questions.
Of course.
So council, what do you guys want to do for consent agenda number 6? Mayor. Councilman Harjo.
Screen sharing part that shows sharing screen.
Yeah, let me kick you off.
James and Jordan, I pulled up the 2025 declining balance report that you guys had produced. This on page 12 of that report. Just from the water perspective and the water planning criteria specifically. On this, we talk about the water rights and where we stand with water rights, but separately from the rights, the supply itself. And you have a note in here, the supply is essentially at 85% of the remaining capacity.
Yeah, so 43 is that's where we say start thinking about it. That's kind of an industry standard. 85%, that's when you start planning. And you want it online by the time you get to the 1480. So when you talk about your schedule, if you're adding 100 EDUs a year, that's a long time. But if you're adding 300, then that's 4 years. And maybe now is a good time to be starting that because it might take 3 years. And so again, we can do some of that forecasting, but that's what those numbers mean.
So I think that was going to be my next question, is in the process of forecasting, not just in the residential one-to-one EDU realm, but in the commercial realm, what potential we're trying to attract here to town. The need for capacity in both systems, wastewater and water, but in this point, where our supply is stated in these reports at 85%, to get the ball rolling now. If we had well 18 come on in similar performance to 117, the EDU bump, if nothing changed between now and the time that we created that would roughly 1,000 EDUs, let's say, if it performs the same.
Yeah.
And the area that we're scoping is within the public works yard, right?
It's nearby.
It's nearby.
Same quarter.
And just preliminarily, we are pretty confident and happy with that, fortunately.
Yes.
In the instance that a pilot well does not prove out to be very, very productive,
pull the plug. You go somewhere else.
We'll plug that one and find a new spot, right? Do we have any plan B and C locations?
It's all in the water master plan. There were some in the area of the public works yard. There's some that are south and west of town. That's actually where we'll go next for our next one. But yeah, we have all the locations as well.
Thank you.
All right, council. What do you guys want to do?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the task order 035 agreement for well 18 with Keller Associates and authorize years.
Do you have a second? All right. Motion dies for lack of second.
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo.
Fellow council members, we talk a lot about being mindful of both the public dollar as well as public infrastructure. And we do a lot of round and round discussion about public infrastructure, but in the moments like these where we have the opportunity to take a step forward in the right direction, I guess I'm seeking some clarification from my fellow council members on what about this task order in this moment where we clearly have educated people who are subject matter experts in their field describing to us both the lengthy process and that we're at 15% remaining capacity for an important public infrastructure piece such as freshwater. I'd love to hear what our reasoning for not moving forward on this is.
Mayor,
Councilman Warcliffe.
legal.
Yes.
Are we fined to always use, and please don't take offense to this, are we legally bind to always use the same engineer for every single project that comes our way for water, wastewater?
No, of course not.
Okay. So you're expensive. And I understand that. My husband's a land surveyor, works for a civil engineering company. I understand it's pricey.
He's proof.
So I understand that. But we're going to get into this discussion a little bit later. And again, no offense to the company. I understand you guys probably put out a really good product. That's why you are expensive. We're going to get into the discussion a little bit about going out for bids, right? Trying to find the best dollar, right, for the project. The struggling community. So again, my only job is to be very mindful of the taxpayers' dollars. So for the other council members, any idea of maybe looking at other engineers for estimated costs? And again, maybe you are the number one choice, but it seems like for you, we use you for every single thing, and it's quite expensive. Competition's healthy.
Councilman McCarthy.
I guess I have a question. We're sitting here and let's say we're at 43 units, we're at 85% capacity, and the alarms are start ringing, that we should be looking into this. I guess my question, posing this to Public Works or James as well, it sounds as if last year this wasn't a big concern. So I guess I'm trying to figure out how this snuck up on us, per se, if this is a big issue.
I think a couple things. I don't know that it's not a surprise. And again, 85% isn't necessarily an alarm. That's the trigger to start moving forward. The alarm would be if you're getting close to 100%. And I think the other item is, I think the fact that well 17 was a little lower than we had hoped, would have, if that had been 2,000 gallons a minute, for example, that would have been another 900 EDUs down the road. So it's clearly influenced by what you can get from your water sources.
I have to say, I think, again, you're a great company. You've done a lot of work for many, many years in Mount Home. I have to say, I don't see any issue with competition and bids. So that's kind of my thoughts on it.
And I appreciate that. We do a lot of work in a lot of communities. I would maybe just clarify a few things that I don't feel like we're expensive, but I feel like we provide great value, and that's what's the most important thing. Can you find somebody that does something less? Maybe you can, but will you get the same value at the end? Maybe you won't. But I would also just so you understand too, just in the engineering community, how the process works. When you solicit an engineering services, you solicit the quality-based selection, and then you negotiate the fees. So you can actually solicit price proposals in the state of Idaho, but you certainly, as an option, you can solicit qualifications, and you can weigh those. You can select who you think is the most qualified for that project, and then you can enter a negotiation with that particular firm to try to get the best value for the city. And I say, we're open to negotiations too, where even the things we present, we feel like we provide, breakdowns on how we get to where we're at. There's certainly things you can do to reduce costs that we can discuss. And but at the end of the day, we're trying to provide the best value to the city as well.
Councilman McCarthy.
And I don't argue against that, James. For me, again, I don't think competition's healthy, but again, it's also coming back to I'd like to see some of these tasks completed. You spend a lot of money with Salvador number 10, and these are kind of the things that I'm just speaking for myself that I would like to see completed before we keep adding more and more and more. And now it's one of these of you have 20 irons in the fire, and how are we keeping up with status on these completion and everything? So
I can appreciate that. Sure. Thank you.
Okay, council. What do y'all do on number 6. Is tabled, is this, we have one bigger one.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
I'm confused. Did that not just die for lack of a second?
Right.
Are you asking for reconsideration?
Nope, I'm just saying is we're just being dropped. That's all. I'm just making sure it's clarified. So we're going to move down to item number 7.
We'll stay right here.
Stay right here.
Sorry.
Same as number 6, council.
Mayor.
Councilman Arjo.
I mean, if we're in the sport of ignoring our studies that we go out for, I mean, is there much discussion to be had here?
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve it? Hearing none?
Mayor, I'll make a motion, understanding that it will fail, to approve the task order 036 agreement with Western Trunkline Study with Keller Associates. Authorize the mayor to sign.
I'm only seconding because I don't want it to die. I want to hear from Keller about it. Please explain.
Yeah.
All right, it's been motioned and seconded.
Further
Oh, go
discussion.
ahead.
Further
Sorry.
discussion.
Further discussion. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can take the lead on that. So your wastewater master plan that was completed in 2023 identified a new trunk line that needs to be built on the west side of the city to accommodate future growth. Since then, we've received information that there are additional developments that are in the pipeline now, that may be coming, that are in different locations and new in addition to what we knew at the master plan timeframe. And so like those could change the alignment of that pipe. It could also change what diameter sewer trunk line you need. And so the city, your staff's asked us to relook at that with the additional growth to see like, is this still the alignment we want? Is this still the size of the pipe we need? So that's the kind of the reason for this.
So it's a
It's like
projection, right? It's not a current issue. It's a projection.
It is to accommodate new growth, and just to kind of illustrate why this is important, why you do your planning. I mean, right now, you recently had a proposal or a set of plans that came in that had a lift station, and we don't really like lift stations in Mountain Home, which is it's amazing how few there are for a city this size, and part of that is because you plan. And so in working with that developer, we, once upon a time, there was surveying done, there was planning to figure out, like, how can we get a trunk line out there? How deep does it need to be so that when they put that lift station in, someday we can get rid of it? And so that's the idea behind these plans. So you're having a lot of development that's occurring in the southwest, or a lot of development interest in the southwest part of the city. And you want to make sure that it's consistent with what's in the best long-term interest. So you're not stuck with extra lift stations. You're not stuck running a parallel pipe because you put the pipe that was too small. You put it in the right corridor to be able to maybe take advantage of the growth so that they can put as much of that in as possible on their penny instead of yours. That's why you do these types of efforts, and that's why it's why you kind of have your system development charges that you have, or your service availability fees. Those things help you stay ahead of the curve. If you reinvest that in your planning and anticipation and preliminary efforts, you'll avoid trouble. So
What's the urgency on this?
you've got a lot of developments that have expressed interest that are outside of the original planning areas. So it's a matter of getting the corridor defined and the size defined so that if these move forward, you'll be able to tell them what to put and where.
Have they been approved yet?
None of these have been approved. We're just trying to get ahead of the game. So we know that there's a company called Bates Homes that's interested in building 1,000 units. There's another company that came in who was interested in putting 1,100 units. It's all off the Bennett Highway, and it's all south of town. It's an area we never considered for growth before because nobody was interested. Now, that's where we're seeing the interest. So that's why I asked.
I appreciate being proactive on that, right? I mean, and it's always good to, keep ahead of the game a little bit here. Yeah, I was gonna say, my question, I guess, is like, if it was something already in development and we already realize it. But if this came back down the road, and because if those got approved down the road, that's something that I may say yes to down the road.
Oh, Councilman McCarthy.
Chris, thank you for that clarification about the interest in that. I know it's about planning. Again, for me, it's coming back to, what's the interest versus we're actually going to start seeing, shovels in the dirt. And, well, even before, after shovels in the dirt. I'm sure we can think of a project here that by a pilot that had some dirt moving and everything, and it still didn't happen. So, James, if I can just ask one question on this. I see that the trunk line, this study that's going through, most of it's following, the state highway, air base road and everything, and it cuts through what appears to be private area. What's the whole reasoning, I guess, behind that?
Topography.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's the most part. So you to avoid those lift stations, and that's the same thing when we ran the last major trunk line in 2006. We looked at where can we route that to be able to serve places, and it required easements, it required all those types of things. But because the city, took that foresight and moved forward, you were able to basically double your community. And that's the idea with the idea that we had planning and staying ahead of the curve. So yeah, you stay ahead of the curve, and then you're not paying twice on it down the road.
Again, I appreciate that sentiment. I guess I'm questioning that on if this is planning and we do all this study and everything, this is basically banking on the fact that if this landowner allows us to use their property, correct, to run this trunk line through. And I understand the whole reasoning for it, low topography and everything, but I'm just kind of curious, is this something that's hinging on the landowner's approval?
That route, you have options. City always has options. Ideally, you work with them and do the sequence in the right sequence. Eminent domain is something most people don't like to talk about, but it is an option that could be pursued. But usually you just want to know those things so that when that development comes in, you know where that route should go. And you can, that's usually the 99% of the time, that's what you're working with is you're working with that developer to refine the alignments and all those things at the time of development. But it always starts with the big picture. And if you don't do the big picture planning, then you just roll the dice with the risk.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing now, I'll call for the question. Councilman Sanders?
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy?
Nay.
Councilman Orpla?
No, this is backwards. Nay.
Councilman Harjo? Aye. Mayor votes aye.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
1 out of 2.
Yeah.
I want you to be embarrassing with yourself.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, good in baseball.
Alrighty, we're gonna run down. Councilman Sanders.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
members of the council, I'd like to put a couple of questions to Mr. Curtis. Where does the proposed work fall on streets CIP?
It's a road that's been identified on the CIP for years. Yeah. But it's not priority number one. It's just the cleanest, easiest project to do with the money that we have.
And this is going to sound like a trick question, but it's really not. What are you trying to purchase?
I am purchasing nothing. It's a contract to have Benedetti's Corporation come out and resurface a road.
Okay.
We're not purchasing anything.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Sanders.
As I go through this proposal, I see a letter from the company proposing to do the work that talks about how it performs the work and then makes the claim that that qualifies it for sole source justification.
Okay.
We're not attempting to contract for the method. We're attempting to contract for the resurfacing of the road. And just to keep things above board, the current purchasing policy, although it's dated from 2017, does not contain anywhere within the document the term sole source. That being said, and the limit for not going out for a competitive bid being what it is, I cannot move forward with this.
Excuse me. Mayor.
Okay. Are you done, Councilman Sanders? Sorry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Wokla?
Yeah, so I looked over the proposal as well. I have the problem with the exclusions. So sounds like they won't do full deck repairs or base reconstruction, so hot spots, repair of subgrade failures or unstable areas again, utility adjustments, pavement striping and markings, or do traffic control for the area. So who would have to pay for all of that? It would again come through the city of Mountain Home. To me, again, being a dead horse here, that's no difference than Railroad Park. Developer got a bid, came in, do the project. City's like, well, to keep it cheaper, let's put $500,000 or so into it of in-kind work. This is in my opinion, the exact same thing. They're not coming in and doing everything from start to finish. So this doesn't sit well with me. It needs to go out for bid, 100%. It needs to go out for bid so we can support local as well. But I did some research. There is a local company in the area that will do the mill, the repair, and pave it for $499,000. Okay, that's an estimate. So that's lower than what's being offered here. So when this is proprietary project or proprietary item, maybe the equipment is, but not completely, right? So we have other companies that's still able to come in and complete the project and do the work. It needs to go out for bid. My second question, or another question I may have is, does this out-of-state company have an Idaho Public Works permit?
I had no idea.
Okay, Mayor, Councilman Farley.
Chris, thanks for the letter on this asphalt recycler. I understand we're trying to stretch our dollar, but I always kind of wonder when is cheaper not always the cheapest. And so when I see that they're not doing full depth repairs or base construction repairs, so it is the same concerns that I had when they presented to us. There's parts of that road that potholes and alligator cracks and that. So to me, I'm kind of starting to really question about, is this something that's a Band-Aid and it's treating the system or the symptoms by not doing a full repair because of the years of in-between maintenance, I'll say. Roads don't fail from the top down, they fail from the base up. That's how you get your alligator cracks and your potholes and everything. So I am concerned that if we spend this kind of money, that again, we're basically putting a Band-Aid on a road that we're not going to get, maybe a few 5 years or something out of it, where a full reconstruction, we could be getting 20, 25 years out of it with proper maintenance. So, yeah, I would like to see bids go out too as well. So.
Mayor. Councilman Harjo.
What's our definition of proper maintenance?
Yeah.
Mayor, crack sealing, fog coating, anything from that into everything that we show in our budget, from chip sealing to re-asphalting. So.
Okay, so what I'm hearing, council, is you wanna go out for bids. So what do you guys wanna do with this one?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
I would move to deny the request, and instead, the request is go out for bid in accordance with the city's purchasing policy.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman McCarthy?
Aye.
Councilman Sanders?
Aye.
Councilman Workla?
Aye.
Councilman Workla. Councilman Harjo?
Aye.
Okay. Going down to approve consulting agreement with Trishel Fish, Lena, number 12, Councilwoman Workla.
So, the reason why I wanted to pull this off the consent agenda is because I wanted to amend the agenda to add the appointment of 2 appointees to P&Z/Impact Fee Committee before we approve to go out with a contract consulting agreement with Trishel. I guess I want to ask other council members, do you think we're putting the cart before the horse on this one? If we don't even have our committee established yet?
Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy.
While I voted against the P&Z when reinstituting the resolution that made P&Z and DIFAC one, I voted against it. Would like to see that at least that it's followed through with that motion that 2 individuals from those that applied are put onto that before we get going potentially. I'm sure an argument will be made that we have to do this now. We're off on our growth rates and everything. But again, this is something that the emergency was. I don't want to see the excuse of emergency be used for something that has been brought up for well over a few years now. So with that, I would like to see you go through with what was approved last time with the P&Z configuration for including the DIFAC.
So the reason I agreed, council, to this is for this agreement to get it going with Councilwoman's request. I'd like to see this agreement approved, as that was what I agreed to with Councilwoman Workla.
Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
What?
You said you wouldn't do this agreement if I didn't, you know what I mean? If I didn't put 2 people on the DIFAC.
Oh, you're so you're holding my hand. Gotcha. Well, we haven't put 2 people to them yet.
Okay,
So.
I will, in good faith, hold my end of the bargain. You hold your end of the bargain.
Touche.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
I'll take one stab at a compromise here, but only one. I would be inclined to go ahead with this item with the provision that the work on this item does not commence until the other 2 members are seated and approved.
Very much.
Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy.
With that being said, to make sure that we have the follow-through on that, I guess I would ask that why not table this agreement until next city council when we have the appointees come back for confirmation.
Until we're appointing them tonight.
By your hand in the pocket or the hat house?
I don't want to see his hand in his pockets.
Whatever you phrased them.
No, it was an offer of compromise.
I don't have a problem with you. I want to see the agreement going through so we can get the statistical data and stuff. I have no problem I'm sure that the DIFAC will wholeheartedly work in conjunction with them anyway. So whether, obviously, we agreed we put 2 on tonight, right? So that was I think that was our agreement.
Mr. Mayor, at the risk of offending folks here in the audience, I think those 2 seats deserve enough respect to go through a process that doesn't include someone's sweaty hat. No offense, Jake.
Call it sweaty.
So my motion is that this item be approved contingent upon 2 additional members being seated and approved. We can authorize that start of this contract piece, but not have them start any work until we have a fully boarded combined P&Z.
So I will tell you this. What I will do is I will reach out to them. I'm not gonna. And then I'll have a conversation with them tomorrow. We'll get somebody on. As you're saying, the next council meeting, right? But I thought you wanted to watch tonight.
Yeah,
Council
you're gonna reach out to them tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Okay. To all 5 that applied.
Yes. Good. If you're gonna say something witty.
It's not witty. It might be a compromise. I'm with Councilman Sanders on the far end here. I guess Councilwoman Workla and I think one other member said they talked to John Cristobal today. Is he willing to sit on the P&Z? Did you have heard that?
So the conversation was, which I did disclose in my declaration, right?
Yeah.
Was that he said, I'm still waiting for the phone call from the city. He understands, he's fully up to date on how it was dissolved and then it was rejoined back together, right? And so the conversation went, I am still waiting for that phone call from the city to see if I'm one of the 2 that are going to be picked, right? And then he checked with Mr. Green, and he said he hadn't heard from the city as well. So that's where I got the notion that no one has been, or at least those 2, have been contacted to see if they wanted to sit on there.
So, again, did John Cristobal allude that he would still be interested to serve in the capacity of planning and zoning and IPAC?
Yeah.
Do you know that? That appears that maybe a message was sent. I guess I'm poking at John Cristobal because he also sits on the county impact, and our legal team has highly suggested and recommended he serve on the committee. So I'm not in your chair, and I nor never want to be. I respect every one of you. I would make a motion that you appoint him this evening, and the mayor call and offer it to him. And that gets one of your 2, which has some power. I'm just throwing it out there. Like if I was in your chair, Councilman Sanders, that's what I would do, and you're giggling at me.
Yeah, but I got a point.
However, she said she'd rather sit in an
I'd rather
electric
sit
chair.
in this one.
Councilman Harjo.
In the proper manner and flow of things. We've not, and I fully understand the desire to get names assigned to seats today, but we did not have this on the agenda. It was not publicly noticed. I get what you're trying to accomplish, and it's shoehorning into a decision today. I as well wish it was on the agenda. Full stop. We've got like a circus show happening at this council meeting today already. And I think appointing somebody without having contacted them is just adding to the unnecessary for this evening.
So council will work well.
Yeah.
I promise to reach out tomorrow.
Okay, and I want to ask council, are you comfortable with us waiting 2 more weeks for them to be appointed and then voted on at the next city council meeting, or would you like to have a special meeting so we can get the ball rolling before the next P&Z meeting next week?
Council, Councilman McCarthy, I'm sorry. My type back my friend, I'm sorry.
I would be open to next city council meeting or a special city council meeting so that we have the follow through of what was again approved on last time.
Okay, so actually, now we're getting into the weeds. So we're going to go back to item number 12.
Mayor, as a staff member, I do not think that Tischlenberg is going to start work between now and the 26th. So if the agreement needs to go on the 26th agenda with the appointees, I think that is just fine on the staff level.
Actually, council, I'll just table this agreement until the next meeting. Sorry. Okay, last one. 16, Councilman Sanders.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Council members, I just wanted to express first my appreciation to Mr. Curtis. I had some questions looking over the expenditures budget for the period ending 30 April. And I had a question about how a negative balance was going to be addressed. You provided that back to me. I think other council members may have received it. But along that same line, one of the challenges they were having with it being over had to do with the need to purchase additional bandwidth for the current LID. So my question then was, if we go to an LID2 and we sign up, say, another 300 subscribers, promising each one of them up to 1 gigabyte of service, and we're only right now drawing down about 30 gig, how in the world are we going to be, what's going to be the projected cost to us on our subscription for that level of bandwidth? And he provided an answer for us. So on this particular one, as we're going to take action on it here in a moment, I just wanted to plant that seed in the council members' minds that capacity, when you have a subscription-based service for the bandwidth, will be a variable for the budget we will have to address on a routine basis. When the more subscribers we have, the greater that variance may become. It will bear close watching. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I step aside.
And council, that was one of the things is when we started this, we didn't know quintessentially as council centers, the bandwidth. I know Chris and his team are currently looking in the bandwidth and where's it going, because we had talked to Iron about it specifically, and they're just like, you have a leak, not a leak, I guess, that's not a good choice of words, but do you have somewhere that's taking up a lot of bandwidth and not getting the same bang for the buck? Chris and his team currently are looking into like the multi-unit tenants, even though they have one line, or is it that, or is it, other facets of the whole thing? So just a clarification on that. Council, who wants to go first? Council O'Rourke.
Yeah, Chris, thanks for the so it said that it is overdrawn by $5,385. Where is that going to be covered?
We're going to cover it out of the fuel line. We have 44. Don't hold me to the number because I don't have it in front of me. We have 44,000 in fuel, and we won't get anywhere near touching that this year. So we're going to.
So it's still staying within.
It will be in fiber.
Fiber, okay.
Yeah, fiber will always
So,
pay for fiber.
Paul.
Yes, ma'am.
So he says fiber will always pay for fiber, but one of the concerns I have or questions I have is there's 3 different pockets of fiber, right? There's fiber for new builds, there's fiber for city-owned fiber, and then there's fiber for LID1. Okay, so when he says it's covered by fiber, I did ask Jeff. I said, Jeff, tell me, LID1, he told me, LID1 legally has to pay for itself, right? Correct. It cannot be pulling from can it pull from new builds fiber? Can it pull from the city fiber, city-owned fiber? Because right now everything's mushed together, and there's not a clarity on that. So if Jeff says LID 1 has to pay for itself, but then I read that we are overdrawn, where is that coming from? And how do we know that?
I do not know the answer to that question, but I do agree with Jeff's statement.
Go ahead, follow up.
Mayor and council, if you look on the treasurer's report, I think it's Fund 59, and as people pay their LID, the fee to be part of that, it pays back Columbia Bank. So it's paying for itself. It's not in the fiber, it's a separate, it's below that in 59 on your treasurer's report.
So,
Go ahead.
So when Councilman McCarthy brought up the report where it showed that it was in the red and it wasn't paying for itself, I think legal came back, or I don't know who came back. I'm sorry. Someone came back and said that. Someone came back and said that. I'm so sorry. This is paraphrasing. But something about like it's paying for itself. I'm sorry. I can't paraphrase it. But I think the request that McCarthy put out was that can we get it so they're itemized into those 3 different purses? And please clarify if I'm going off. Is that something that you wanted so we could see if LID 1's really paying for itself? Because isn't it kind of all mushed together when it's just showing that we're in the red majority of the time? Mayor.
Go ahead, Tiff. Or hang on a second. Councilman Harjo had a question or something, and then who wants to go? You want Tiff go first, Councilman?
Tiff's always got good stuff.
All right, Tiff.
I don't know.
Here go. Go ahead, Tiff.
Okay, I think we're a little confused. An LID is a local improvement district. It's a construction project. Correct, it's under fiber. It's closed. It expended its entire funding. So there is no other. Their operational services is paid through in their utility bill as a maintenance and operational need. Their construction, so the utility to their home, is what they were assessed. There is no more, it's negative balance or any of that. It's one account that this was the cost that was approved as the total construction amount. Everybody shares the payment back. That's it. Their service gigabytes is a collective in maintenance and operational paid by a utility bill.
Now, is that being met? Oh, through the utility bill. Okay.
Correct.
Okay, so again, to go to like the citizens, right? We need. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
To go to the citizens' concern, I hear you out for sure, Mr. Newman. I'm all about freedom of choice, right? Like if people want it and it pays for itself, who am I to stand in the way? Here's where my heartburn is a little bit with it, is that initially it was for the SCADA system, right? So that fiber can be implemented within the utilities so the city could read it quicker and more efficient. And then the idea came to fruition later on, like, well, let's offer it to citizens, right? A lot of that equipment that came in for the SCADA system and for that was being mixed, right? It was being used for, and I think that was a big concern. So it wasn't just like we bought this piece of equipment just for LID 1, right? It was bought for the SCADA system and it was a shared thing. And as you can tell maybe from this meeting, I am a little bit concerned about sharing projects, right? And how that's being managed. So I'm a little torn on this. We talked a little bit through email. I don't know. Yes, I know. But we talked a little bit through email, and I think you can. I hope you saw saw my concerns through that. But I want you to know that I'm not. I campaigned against fiber, right? I campaigned against it because I don't think the city should be in the utility business. I don't think government should be in the utility business. I don't think we should be in competition with the civilian sector. Hence the pro shop. So I'm struggling a little bit with this one.
May I add?
Hang on 1 second. Councilman Harjo.
Mayor, Tiff, thank you. I don't need to mansplain over the top of what you said much more eloquently than I did. Maintenance and operation is the thing that handles this fund. The LID is closed. Construction is closed. This monthly subscription is a factor of M&O. For what Councilman Sanders, I think actually every council member up here speaking about fiber has referred to this as LID1, and LID1 is a construction project under the fiber umbrella. This affects every fiber user, both in new construction, commercial, and those that were a part of the LID1 construction. Their monthly M&O costs, especially as it's budgeted in the upcoming budget, will need to reflect these updates to the subscription through Idaho Regional Optic Network, because the bandwidth is a factor that scales with usage. And if we have users that are using it to its full capacity in their connection, we are obligated to make sure that our system has the capacity to do those things. I just want to clarify that this is, again, LID1 is closed. This is the entirety of every user on the fiber system, not just specifically the LID.
All right.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
and I hope I did not add to the confusion in making my comments. It really was toward the council, as we are going to the next budget cycle, being aware that this particular expense has shown us its variability. And we will have to use our best prognostication skills to try to figure out what it's going to take to make sure we don't wind up in situations like we find in this particular bill run. But let me speak for a second as to this item and the notion of getting judicial confirmation for an LID number 2. I go back to the presentation made about how LID1 was done, how it was funded, how it came to fruition, the assessments made, the closeout conducted. All of that made perfectly good legal sense. As a method of doing the construction, the LID has some advantages. If we are going to do construction to expand, and we don't have the cash to do it out of pocket, then I strongly suggest to my fellow council members that they look on the project of LID1 as an example of how it can be done and make their votes accordingly.
And I'll tell you, council, however you vote, that's how you vote. But I will say that we have learned when you start a utility, whether it be water, wastewater, broadband, there's always nuances. I'm sure I can only fathom what our forefathers did with water or wastewater, so this is another nuance with the broadband as well. So we've learned a lot. We know how to be more efficient. A lot of the infrastructure, I think, currently in certain locations is right there. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, I think our lead team is excellent. So, however you guys decide. Councilman McCarthy?
Just for clarification on this, we're just approving to have a public hearing date, correct? Not the actual going out for the confirmation.
I think this is the one where I have to go and file a petition to the judge. There's still, okay, with this, I have to go to the judge to ask for the petition for judicial confirmation. The judge might come back and say no.
It looks like she
That's good, see?
Yeah.
Tiffany has something to say. Yeah, I mean, the attorney really should, but you're correct, Councilman McCarthy. We have to set a public hearing to go out and seek a judicial confirmation, and we have to adopt an ordinance or a resolution to do so. And it would be for an opt-in network, and then we'd go to the judge.
And then,
so there's quite a bit of process.
So again, this is just to set the date. This is not to confirm the judicial confirmation.
right.
Just, I know we're kind of getting.
Well, that's a bit off, and you guys don't get to make that call.
So yes.
You're welcome.
All right, council, what do you want to do?
Mayor,
Councilman Harjo.
make a motion to approve the staff to set a public hearing date to consider adoption of a resolution or ordinance authorizing the filing of a petition for judicial confirmation under the Idaho Judicial Confirmation Law to confirm the power of the city to construct and finance an open access optic network in the two.
There's a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
There's a second. Any further conversation? Or sorry, communication?
Mayor.
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
I always want to hear what the public has to say, and that's what this is doing. It's allowing the public to speak. So I will support a date for a public hearing to hear the public.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing now, I'll call for the question. Councilman Sanders.
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy. Aye. Councilman Woodruff.
Aye.
Councilman Harjo. Aye. All right. Okay, we're done. Oh, no. Okay, we're going to run down to new business. All right, action item number 1, discussion decision regarding the recommendation of the Golf Advisory Committee recommendation that the position of the golf professional be established and hired as a city employee. Council, what do you want to do?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Sanders.
Mr. Mayor,
Wait.
I
Did I miss one?
We made him vote on this, but this still made it on the agenda with my amendment.
Oh, yeah, she's right. Hang on one second. We're not going to do new business just quite yet. We're going to do the what she did on the agenda of voting the two, but I think we kind of all agreed that we're going to put them on.
So
go
we
ahead.
were discussing too prematurely, right? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so this action item that was added, are you good with me? Okay. Was that I asked to create an action item under new business to appoint 2 appointees to P&Z, and as what was voted on at the meeting. All right. So we can open up for discussion because I know we kind of jumped ahead with that with the Tish roll. May I please say what you're going to do? Please say what you're going to do. You say you're going to call all 5 of them tomorrow and ask them.
Okay.
Right?
I'm listening. Keep
Right?
going.
Is that what you're saying? You're going to ask them for the invitation to see if they're open to serving not just on the impact fee committee, but also being a P&Z commissioner as well. Okay. I'm open to having a special meeting on Friday just for this really quick to get it done, or again next week as well. I just want to hear what council wants. Not next week, 2 weeks.
All right, council. What do you guys want to do? Anything?
Mr. Mayor, I'll simply say if the will of the body is to go to a special meeting on Friday, I'll need to do so either telephonically or by streaming because I will not be available.
You'll have to find a sub for the audio system. Not that I can't be replaced.
That would be my 6th public meeting of the week.
Okay, fine.
I don't have much left.
Mayor. All right, this is a weird motion. I'm going to make a motion for the mayor to contact those 5 individuals tomorrow that applied for the impact fee committee to ask to see if they want to also be part of the P&Z commissioners as well. And then the mayor will put the 2 recommendations on the next city council meeting for city council to vote on.
Motion.
That was a motion.
Or sorry, a second. Sorry. Second. You see how you almost dropped the F-bomb?
Oh.
Councilman McCarthy.
I fought it in my head a few times.
Yeah, I was going to ask if Polly is seeing any issues with that motion, but yeah.
Just.
Okay.
It got to where it needed to go.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Harjo. Aye. Councilman Worklife. Councilman McCarthy.
Aye.
Councilman Sanders.
Aye.
Okay. So we're down to action item number 2, or 1, technically. Discussion decision regarding recommendation of Golf Course Advisory Committee recommending the position of golf course professional to be established and hired as a city employee. Council, what do you want to do?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
for this particular action item, seeing how the council has not yet come to a conclusion on which, policy-wise, which way they want to travel with this, I would move that we take this recommendation under advisement and table it indefinitely.
Councilman Sanders, or McCarthy.
Clarification, this is action item number 1.
Yeah.
I'll second.
The motion and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing now, I'll call for the question. Councilman Sanders.
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy.
Aye.
Councilman Workla.
Aye.
Councilman Harjo.
Aye.
Action item, discussion decision regarding recommendation that the Golf Advisory Committee recommends the city owns and operates Golf Course Pro Shop under guidance and expertise of the Golf Pro and Golf Director or Director of Golf.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
I move that we take this item under advisement and table it indefinitely.
Second. Wait. What was your motion again? Say
To
again?
table.
Indefinitely?
Yeah, accept it under advisement and table it. We're not rejecting it, we're just gonna study it for a while.
So there's been a motion. Do I have a second?
There was a second one.
Well, I had
Then she goes, wait.
I had it. I don't know what you said again. I'm sorry.
Second.
It's been seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilwoman Workla.
Come back to me.
Councilman McCarthy.
Aye.
Councilman Harjo.
Aye.
Councilman Sanders.
Aye.
Councilwoman Workla.
Aye.
Run down to action item number 3, to the discussion decision regarding the recommendation of Golf Course Advisory Committee recommending to adopt the QUORUM golf management software system for the golf course operations. Please, council, don't table this one.
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo.
In the discussions regarding the adoption of QUORUM Golf, was there also any discussion about, oh gosh, no, I'm on the blank of the, on the
Golf
system.
now?
There was a,
Zen.
the GPS and messaging based system. Is that Golf Now?
That was TrackMan, wasn't that?
No,
No.
that's the system to put on the golf course.
Oh,
Well, we heard it was Golf Now.
right.
Golf Now, what's up on it? I've looked at 4 different men. So,
Go ahead, you're good. Good.
I got 4 recommendations, and I had 4 Zoom calls with each of these. QUORUM Golf is used by 80% of municipalities in Idaho. Okay? And I have a list of the golf courses that you got the email on that city municipalities run that. So, I'm very big on this because you need to have the tools to do the job. I would challenge any one of you council members to come out there on Saturday and Sunday and watch that system crash while I'm checking in 25 players. It's embarrassing. You don't have a system that you can't ring up people properly, and your credit card machine crashes. Maybe it's fiber optics. Who knows?
The heck, no. No, it's the, I think it's
Your system is living in the old ages, and it creates poor customer service. So this is the best system out there, by far. And I helped install this in Idaho Falls, and the golf pros there love it. Everybody loves it. It's simple. It's so simple. And you won't have customer service issues like we have. And you're losing money because of this. I could give you an example where Saturday, I make that challenge to anybody. Come out there and just see
Councilman
it.
Harjo. Sorry, Chris. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Councilman Harjo.
I found the system that I was thinking of here. So QUORUM being the platform of scheduling the rounds of golf and the point of sale system for that function. CAG Marshall is the adjacent system that has integration, both cited on QUORUM and CAG Marshall's site. This is a concurrent system that would again be a being a force, yeah, I guess a service fee based system that puts tracking GPS and a two-way messaging on the cards. Do we have any target to go that direction with the course? The integrations that offers are fairly rich, especially in the sense I've been saying for a while, my pretty legitimate concern on the number of parts that are damaged that we have under lease. This provides, first and foremost, in my opinion, a geofencing capability that will alert our city staff when a golf cart is either being mistreated, taken off course in places that they're getting damaged. As well, it gives real-time feedback on the pace of play, has two-way messaging back and forth between the clubhouse and the cart itself, and as well could be utilized by the concessionaire for ordering. I want to, before going too far into just the QUORUM golf management software aspect, I guess, do we have any target to integrate to that level or not?
So geofencing is putting boundaries where they can't drive that cart there. The cart dies. They have to back up out of it. So they can't drive in the rock. They can't drive over that rock. It solves your problem. That's something that's going to come at a cost to put that type of system in, which is a little more expensive. I think that's something we need to look at for next year's budget. But the 4 is something we need.
I appreciate you considering that, because while there is a cost to this, we are already incurring significant cost of damage to carts. So again, we have an obligation for lease. And I think that should remain a focus. Thank you.
Jake, all right, can you come up here?
Wasn't close enough.
Well, I'm sorry, I just want to make sure you're involved in this conversation. All right, so you've been here a very long time. I just want to see, are you seeing that? Are you seeing people taking the carts and using them and running they're not supposed to?
Well, golf carts drive in the native rough area all the time, which has badger holes and all that stuff, which is where the carts are breaking. Tie rods, stuff like that.
Wait, what do you think of this product?
I don't know. I think I as a golfer, I hate it, but as a superintendent, I like it. So, I mean, I've played golf courses where they have it on the carts, and like they'll put like 30 yards away from greens, stuff like that, so you can't drive up next to the greens. Staying on the cart paths around tee boxes, stuff like that, So, I mean, I don't know. I'm up in the air on it. As a superintendent, I would be for it. As a golfer, I'd probably not like it as much. I don't know. It would be good to have at the golf course, right? Because we do, like Cardinal says, we lease the golf carts right now, and so we keep spending money to keep them going.
So you're experiencing damage from the driving in rough terrain?
Yeah, I think last year, just off the top of my head, I think we probably replaced, I could talk to my mechanic, but I would say no more than 10, but no more than 10, but no less than 5, somewhere in that area where we're fixing the tie rods and stuff like that.
So really quick, Councilman Harjo, so this is the QUORUM discussion, are you wanting to try to get that tag, whatever, the tag marshal, not tag, what is it called again?
I guess my question is, I fully understand the need and the use of QUORUM.
Okay.
My question is, do we have any target to integrate with Tag Marshal at any point in the future? We can get the council some further data on this, some early info that Jeff Rhodes had put together back in August, I want to say, of last year, shows year one cost. to acquire that system and to get everything in place at around 23,000. Again, this is not a, Scott Harder saying we need this today, but in what protection we need for our assets that are under lease, I would highly recommend us keeping the same focus.
Yeah.
And then, really quick, so I'll give QUORUM, no cost, right?
Right.
So go ahead.
It integrates with Golf Now. Our system now does not integrate with Golf Now into your Zen system.
Right.
People show up saying they paid on Golf Now, which you've even helped people show me their bank statement that they paid and it doesn't show on our system.
That was my question. Yeah, it didn't. There's no attachment to number 3, so I was just that's the cost, right? So it means that it's.
Yeah, it's number 4.
We're on number 3 though, right?
Number 3 was the recommendation, 4 is the actual agreement.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's what is
And it's going to take about a 30-day integration to do this. I talked to Brent Brown, who is for a call. It's just a matter of execution.
So council, what do you want to do on the QUORUM?
Mayor, is it?
Councilwoman Hoagland?
Yeah, I still have more questions. So, is this being addressed now before our budget hearing because of the golf carts being damaged?
Well, the
during golf
QUORUM Golf
season?
is more of is your point of sale system.
Oh, okay.
It's also for tournament operations. It's also for your round bellies have a way of checking in properly. And your ladies' league and your men's league and everybody checking in properly.
This system just all the check-in, like you can call, make tee times, all that kind of stuff. It has nothing to do with the golf carts.
Right. QUORUM Golf is a golf management software thing.
Okay.
It's your point of sale system.
Okay, and there is a fee on here.
Mayor. Hang on a second, Councilman Senate had some.
It's the same fee that you pay right now with Golf Now.
Okay.
It's the same fee. You're not. It's a washing one. It's a balance, check and balance thing. That's what it is. Because you're paying Golf Now, you're giving away 2 tee times. It's the same thing with QUORUM. Okay, so and Golf Now will integrate with QUORUM. QUORUM integrates with everything. And what he's talking about is something completely separate. There's other companies out there that have geofencing that I can work on that project, get more bids on that for next year's budget stuff. But the QUORUM Golf will make us money and make this operation. We have our own webpage. It will integrate with the city system. You can book online. We can get totally cashless properly. We can meet people in the parking lot with you check in with your app. You book on your app. They've already prepaid. You check them in. It's going to get more rounds of golf out there. That's what this is about.
Mayor, thank you. There is a monthly pricing. Costs about $963 a month, according to the.
But they're printing that back to us.
According to this, they're showing a hardware credit of up to $2,000. But in the products and services, it says per monthly pricing in our packet.
I believe that's the trade out of the golf tee time stuff. It's something that needs to,
We need more clarification on that because we don't think that this is completely. Councilman McCarthy.
I just want to make a split point. At the top, it's saying a client is not signing a this license agreement by 510 for a mob license insurance will expire. So, really going through, is this going to change or?
I can get that adjusted to whatever date.
It's not uncommon. Yeah, like, usually they're only good for so long. And then
So, Mayor.
Councilwoman Worklow.
So if we add up all these quantities here, the per monthly pricing is around $900. So that is not coming back. That's what we're paying in addition to.
You'll make that up in green peas in 1 weekend.
Okay, so we're not breaking even though. That's a different story. We're having a different.
Okay. Sorry.
Go ahead, Ted.
right here it says method of payment, inventory exchange is 1 tee time a day. So you're not, in lieu of you monetarily wise, you're going to give them 1 tee time a day. In lieu of not paying $1, $80 to them.
So that will supplant the
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy, or, sorry, Councilman Sanders.
Just to save me the time from having to look it up, what's the current price for a round of golf for an adult on a weekday?
I was gonna tell you weekend.
What's the highest price for a round of golf?
33, free fee's 33 plus 22 for the card, so it's about $55. Weekend is 39 plus.
Not including the card, just the free fee.
32 on the weekday for 9. It's 39 on the weekend, I know that.
Okay.
33 on the weekday.
And is it still, that, I have to admit, I haven't had to play around yet this year.
Right.
Are you still limiting tee times to groups of no more than 4?
No, there's been situations where we let 5 out when they're in different situations, and I monitor their place of play, and they're, as long as they're keeping up, and if they don't keep up their pace, I break them up. So there's been 2 situations where people have booked for 8 and they show up at 5.
Well, the reason I'm asking is I'm looking at the method of payment, and it says 1 tee time per day. If I take foursome, which is the preferred number, and I multiply it by the $39, and then I'm generous in saying we have at least 270 playing days a year, not being canceled for other reasons, then this payment, this exchange for 1 tee time a day works out to over $42,000.
You're still getting cart rental off them.
I'm looking at the cost of the system you're presenting to us and the payment they're requiring.
They discount that tee time below your tee time rate.
I don't care what they do. You're talking about revenue generation, and I'm talking about what we would get if we didn't have this system in place and somebody played.
I think we do that right now with Zen.
Yeah, you do. You currently do that with Golf Now and Zen.
I think. I don't know for sure. I think that's what we do.
I'm fairly certain that, Mayor, sorry.
Go ahead, Tim.
I'm fairly certain that in the Zen software we do give out tee times. And I know for a fact in Golf Now we do in exchange. And the Golf Now is in lieu of advertising with the course. I'm not savvy to golfing, so apologies here. You addressed a foursome, meaning 4 people would go play. So if I book a tee time with 4 individuals, that's how you're getting to the 40,000 mark? Because I right away went down to just an individual plays, roughly about 12,000, and I didn't shy the good year of golf. I did 365.
Yeah, when it talks about a tee time, that's not an individual green fee. That is the time opportunity window for a group to start play.
So can you control that? I guess is my ask.
Oh yeah, we can run certain working windows. We're not going to get prime time.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
The current system we have includes this exchange. We're giving up, was it 2 tee times in one system and 1 tee time in another?
I don't know that answer. In fact,
We're
I know
talking
for
about
sure they're
integrating
one.
this with Golf Now. And Golf Now we currently use with Zen. And I know at least with Zen we're giving up at least one tee time. So somewhere in the current system we have 2 blocked out already. So I'm guessing we're giving up 3 tee times right now to the current system we're using. If we integrate a new system, that's not going to change because they're asking for 1 tee time for QUORUM. And we're still going to be integrating with Golf Now and we're giving up 2 tee times. And do we get to control which tee times those are?
I know right now you're giving away prime time. It's a Golf Now.
I don't think we were giving them away. That's what I'm asking. Can we direct what those tee times are?
Councilman Sanders.
Go ahead.
I know that in Golf Now you can. The city can control what times they want to give out in Golf Now.
In Golf Now.
I cannot speak for the other now, unfortunately.
Well, it's controlled by the tee sheet. When you have a block of a group, there's no tee times available. For example, when we had the Dobbs tournament, there was no Golf Now tee times available. So typically what they're doing is discounting those tee times based on the availability that we set. So, yes, I would say yes to that, but I could get a definite answer.
Okay, council.
So,
Mr. Mayor.
Mayor, sorry.
No, I defer to the good luck.
Alright, so where's this money coming from, right? So, okay, like if you have your own business, you can foresee that, project that, hey, it's gonna bring in more revenue and, you know, it's gonna pay for itself. But where we work off a fiscal budget, that's not a thing where we can just say, oh, I think it's gonna bring in more money, let's just go approve this in the middle of a fiscal year, right? So my question, I guess, is where will this come from if it is going to be that additional 900 some a month?
It's a wash with the current system.
Mayor,
Go ahead.
we currently don't have an expense with this in. We do annual support, yeah. But I don't know about the
We don't have a
exchange
GL for this.
I don't know about the exchange of tea times.
So we don't
know
know
that to someone else.
So where would the money come from if we approved it tonight?
Yeah, I don't have that answer.
Then I can't vote for that. There's no way.
Mayor,
Councilman Harjo.
what Tiff was expressing, and I had mistakenly looked past on our point, that $968 value for monthly pricing that I mentioned there, that was in all added up for monthly pricing is in exchange for that one time. So there's no out of pocket cash being.
That's a one.
Correct. That is in lieu of the $900 that this monthly fee would be, that you're giving up a daily tea time. So I was mistaken in the perspective of this is what there's a monthly cost. There's actually no financial cost in the sense that we're paying a monthly charge. We're exchanging that monthly charge for one tea time a day. And that goes to Councilman Sanders' point, I believe.
It's an exchange of value.
What's the value of the tea time might exchange to.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Sanders.
Thank you, Councilman Harjo, for that. There is only one other area I'm going to ask you to take a look at and help me understand. Fees for payment services. This appears to be billing for the use of electronic transfers of funds. That is not covered under the exchange tea time. This is clearly going to bill us a flat fee equal to 20% or 20 cents per transaction, or fee equal to 0.95% of the total transaction. How is that going to appear on our costs?
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo.
Councilman Sanders, where are you finding?
Look above additional terms and conditions. You'll see a category right above that that says fees. This is dealing with electronic payments.
So what do we pay right now with our electronic payment fee?
Mayor and council, it'll be in your budget, but it's just merchant service fee. And it would come out of the same line. We currently pay a fee per transaction, I think.
Okay, so that's already budgeted and expensed against. That's my question. Okay, thank you.
I have on 233. Council.
All right, so Mr. Mayor, let me keep a stake where I know where I'm at. Are we on 3 or 4?
We're on 3.
And for action item number 3 for a motion.
Yes, sir.
I move that we take the recommendation of the Golf Advisory Committee on the adoption of the QUORUM management system software for golf course operations. Because it's asking us for they're making a recommendation that we acknowledge that we act. I slipped my terms there. That we take this under advisement and take action on it in the next action item session. Because they're not really asking us to do any other than making a recommendation to us.
Right. So there's a motion. Do I have a second?
What was the motion?
To take their recommendation. To approve the recommendation. Because remember, the next one is the one where you decided if you want to do that or not.
The motion is to take their recommendation under advisement. Councilor Whipple?
So I was just speaking with our treasurer here, and while we were looking at numbers, this is a lot of information to try to take and make a decision on. I was actually going to make a motion before you did, was trying to table this, so we can just do a little bit further deep dive on it, since there's a lot of unknowns, and then potentially, right, go from there.
Mr. Mayor. Councilman Whipple. The process of taking it under advisement is to receive the information, but in this particular instance, not take action on it. It's to acknowledge that it's there, we've received it, we thank them for their hard work, and we're going to study it. This is not the action item on the agenda tonight where we are being asked to say yes or no to implement.
Not this one, but number 4.
Number 4 will be a different discussion.
Councilman Harjo?
Councilman Saunders, the only issue that I find with that is the verbiage of our action item is recommending the adoption. So the motion in recognizing their recommendation, are we of differing opinions that means that we are not adopting the QUORUM golf management system?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to make sure I fully understand what your motion intends to accomplish.
The intent of the motion essentially would be the same. The result of the motion would be the same as if this were tabled for further review.
Okay, Council, there's been a motion regarding the recommendation for Golf Advisory Committee recommendation to adopt the QUORUM golf management software system with golf course operations. Do I have a second? Mayor, Councilman McCarthy.
I understand, Councilman Saunders, your motion to take it under advisement. I guess I feel like tabling to take it to the next meeting for further consideration is a little bit more clear cut. So I guess I just haven't asked for your motion, would you be open to table until the next meeting?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
Councilman McCarthy, please consider that if we act on 4 in the positive, then 3 becomes moot.
You guys are all saying the same thing, by the way. Just want to let you know.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Sanders.
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy.
Aye.
Councilwoman Whipple.
Aye.
Councilman Harjo. Aye. Okay, action item number 4, discussion decision regarding the QUORUM golf management software system agreement and execute the documents. Council.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
let's keep the wheels of this cart turning. Now we're into the action item deciding whether or not it is in the best interest of the city and the golf operations to move forward with this software to integrate into our system. Looking over the proposal, looking over its application, looking over what we currently have been using. Bear in mind, folks, the mayor asked me a while back to sit with them as they started going through data that was coming out of that system. And I think we all had to go visit the Elmore County Eye Center as a result. While we were getting headaches while we were trying to figure out what was being spit out of that system. I am not a fan of the current system. I would like to see it changed. I'm going to recommend to my fellow council members that we make this move. I think it will serve us immediately. I think it will serve us in the long term, regardless of how we approach other policy issues around the golf course.
Mayor, Councilman. In doing some research between the FORUP product, one of the things that stands out to me on FORUP's website is that they're making a direct one-to-one in product versus product between FORUP and Golf Now. On our agenda, we have the golf management software Zen under now new business item 5 or 6 or whatever we pushed it down to, which is one facet of that, and I fully agree that thing is basically DOS-based. It's horrendous. But is the intent of FORUP to replace both Golf Now and Zen?
Gentlemen?
Because that's not what our agenda totally reflects, if that's the intent.
Yeah, FORUP will replace them. And Golf Now will integrate with FORUP. So when you book on with Golf Now, they still pay their $3 fee, and the revenue is directly yours. So Golf Now is making $3 off every tee time currently, but you're giving up tee times to them. Golf Now is a application that you can book tee times. FORUP is an application that you can book tee times. FORUP has more capabilities of doing better tee sheet management than Zen. Zen, you cannot even do a split tee sheet to create play when you have a course closed for an event, and you can still be another golfers out there. That capability is not available now with Zen.
Mayor, Councilman Harjo, fully understanding that, but now we're going to have a product in FORUP where we're only going to be using it for tee sheet management.
Not just tee sheet
and
management.
not the online
booking.
Yeah,
FORUP is a booking, online booking. And it's
why
also,
would we retain Golf Now and pay for 2 services concurrently? Or have 2 services concurrently?
because Golf Now does not integrate with your future fencing, does not integrate with tee sheet management for future simulation golf.
So we're not going to get the full suite of
And
services.
it doesn't integrate with Golf Genius, which is a tournament management thing to do tournaments. It integrates with, there's Blue Now Golfers, which is used by the Idaho Golf Association. They do their tournaments on that. That's integrated with FORUP.
I get where you're going.
Yeah.
The question is, why would we have 2 concurrent booking systems?
Well, because we want as many people booking tee times.
The suite
covers
the entirety of the service of both booking, point of sale, course management, tournament management. If we're going to adopt FORUP, are we not adopting the entire suite?
Yes, we are.
So why would we retain Golf Now?
Mayor. Councilman Harjo, we engaged in with Golf Now specifically for advertisement outside of us. Golf Now reached nationally, so we took that for the tee time, and I have the agreement before you. If the council would like to terminate it, I think as staffable, we're okay with that. I don't think it's here nor there on Golf Now. The concern is Zen is very outdated, and we all agree to that, right? Like, that's our ask is Zen, and if you guys want to terminate Golf Now, by all means, I'll do I have the email drafted to go to you now. Well, we can work that angle, and I'll put it on the next agenda.
So right now,
So
right now, let's just focus on the FORUP. I know where you're going. I agree with your synopsis of that. I agree. Yeah, well, there's no reason to have 2 systems doing the same thing. So
Golf Now is still going to book with us.
Right.
Yeah.
Fine.
We're not giving away with tee times to them.
Correct.
They're going to make their $3. They discount their rate, but they're not going to be able to discount the rate. We're going to get our rack rate for our green fee, and we're still getting a cart rental off that.
So Councilman Sanders made a motion. Is there a second for QUORUM Management Golf Software System.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Okay.
Councilor Orkla.
So we have some tabling indefinitely. I don't like that. I know city staff doesn't like that. What's the problem with just getting this stuff on the next city council agenda, put a date to it? Because guess what? He's looking up a whole bunch of stuff that he researched on his own. Good for him. It's not in my packet. I didn't know where to go. I click on Civil Plus. I'm so sorry looking. I click on Civil Plus, and it's blank, right? It just has a agenda item, and then there's no attachment to it. So I need time, because right now it's a foreign language. I'm not a golfer, so I need time. Hey, Chris, I need time.
I'm glad to train you.
Yeah, no, I just need time, because it sounds like you do know what you're talking about. It sounds like it, right? So I...
Come spend a Sunday with me or Saturday.
Oh, dude, I hear you're very busy on weekends. So, what does council feel about that? Can we just table it to the next city council meeting so I can see what Scott found and
Would you like a Zoom presentation?
Mayor.
Councilman
I
Harjo.
definitely hear you, Councilman Orkla. If I could enunciate tonight, it'd be awesome. Yeah, no, a lot of this is just digging and digging and digging, you know, and understanding what system integration looks like from a software perspective. I think there's an opportunity to take a look at some of like their entire product suite. I went to their website, started looking. It's not in the packet because that wasn't necessarily the intent for this purpose in replacing Zen as the system. But I think, you know, when we're discussing adopting a FORP golf management software system, the system is actually a suite of different applications. And I think that's my main focus is if we're going to adopt the software system as a suite, why are we having a parallel function that does the same thing? And I won't rehash all that, but we do have a motion, we do have a second for this particular part. So we can circle back to that.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Harjo.
Aye.
Councilwoman Orkla.
I abstain. I have no idea what I'm voting on.
Councilman McCarthy.
For the software, sorry.
Yeah.
Just 3 words. From recommendation staff, Jake, Chris, sounds like Zen's pretty much not what we need. Understand that we also don't want to necessarily tie one hand behind your back, especially out at the golf course, while we, the city council, figure out what direction we're going in. For that, I'm in favor of this if we're moving forward to that that will assist during this time. But yeah, I hope that we can at least look at the other program, the Golf Now, and figure out the redundancy in that. So for that, I will vote aye.
Councilman Sanders.
Aye.
Okay, we're gonna run down to the action item, discussion decision regarding the termination of the existing golf management software Zen. Councilman Harjo.
Make a motion to approve regarding approve the termination of existing golf management software systems.
Second.
I just would like the record to reflect there is a typo. It is SZEN.
Well, no wonder why I couldn't remember.
All right. The motion and seconded and further discussion. Hearing now, I'll call for the question. Councilman McCarthy. Aye. Councilman Orkla.
Abstain.
Councilman Harjo. Councilman Sanders.
Aye.
All right. We'll run down to executive session. Do I have a council member on the motion to send to executive session? Council. No, executive session.
Oh, sorry.
Mayor, Councilman Harjo, I'll make a motion to enter executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 74461.
Second.
The motion and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilwoman Orpla. Councilman Harjo. Councilman McCarthy. Councilman Sanders.
Aye.
All right.